The scriptures during Lent come from the oldest part of the Bible, the oldest books, from the prophets. We read from the prophets nearly every day in the weeks before Easter. We also read from the prophets in the weeks approaching Christmas. But those scriptures are full of rejoicing, whereas the scriptural passages we read these days, like today, are definitely not. They are an entirely different tone than what we read any other time of the year. They are storytelling, allegorical, engaging, very easy to grasp, hold, and repeat. The Gospels are from all of the writers, giving account of the acts against Jesus by the leaders of the Jewish community, the leaders of the temple, as they became more threatened by his teachings, his miracles. The Pharisees were the highest priests and tried to test Jesus, to show him as lacking true knowledge of the faith. He is but a carpenter's son, meaning this impudent, filthy, itinerant, uneducated worker is coming into my temple to teach. Who does he think he is? We'll definitely have to put him in his place, publicly and with force. The tests included when he cured a blind man on the Sabbath. This was a test to see if he would violate the prohibition against lifting or doing any kind of work on the Sabbath. Jesus mixed his spit into dirt, spread the mud on the blind man's eyes, and instructed him to wash in a specific pool. And as soon as he had washed, he could see. He asked, "Was it breaking the Sabbath to do as my Father commands me?" In the other Gospels, he asks, "Is it better to save a man in the Sabbath than to let him die for want of breaking the Sabbath?" The Pharisees excommunicated the now sighted man for allowing Jesus to perform a miracle on him. He became one of the very early Christians. Another test was the adulterous woman. The Pharisees brought a woman to Jesus who had been caught by her husband in an illicit act. "Teacher," they called out to him, "this woman has committed adultery. Moses' law prescribes stoning for this. What should we do with her?" Jesus bent down and started to write in the dirt, and they kept carrying on. After a bit, he stood up straight and said in a clear but quiet voice, Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to cast a stone at her." In response, one by one, they went away, beginning with the elders. When it was just him alone with the woman, Jesus said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She replied, "No one, sir." Then Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, do not sin anymore." This, of course, truly pissed off the Jewish powers that be. This was one of his final non-miraculous acts before the final betrayal. It was a week ahead of Passover. The Pharisees and high priests cared not about the people, cared little about the liturgical value of Sabbath, but cared only for the defiance Christ showed publicly against them and his power in front of the people. He had to die. And he knew every day how much shorter his time was. But he continued to do the Father's work, loving and saving despite his approaching murder. But for those of us who for many, many years only ever read or heard Sunday scripture readings and Gospels, these acts and betrayals of the community were lost or not known or forgotten, because these biblical readings were during the week and not connected logically in time as they now are in daily readings. But, of course, we can still be taught. We have a number of weeks still of Lent to go, but we are being challenged by God every day. Do not let your faith slip during these quarantines, these self-isolations. As you know, I have lived in isolation for 7 years. It is not difficult. Relax. Do not fret. It is very easy. Allow God to work through you. Live with the gospel. Live with the scriptures each day and just relax. Peace be with each and every one of you. I will see you tomorrow.